The power of prayer. Okay. Prayer, in my opinion, is nothing more than wishful thinking. It's a lot like spell casting, except spell casting feels a little more cool somehow. But really, they're one and the same if you think about it. One is asking for God to give them what they want, whereas the other is asking for the goddess or the powers from the north or the south, east, or west, depending on the intended results. Now, there are people who say, well, of course prayer works. I mean, there are studies that prove it works. Oh, really? Well, guess what? Go take a look at the studies that talk about the placebo effect and how well that can work. You know, it's the power of belief. But, hey, maybe you could just take a placebo pill instead and call it a day. Now, there have been people who have said they'll pray for me. Now, think about this. First off, it's very arrogant, okay? As if they have this special connection with God, and God listens to them. And forget God's will. They're asking for God to do their will, right? Because, ooh, they're so wise and insightful, and they know what's best for your life. So they're going to go home and pray to God about you. I mean, it's pretty creepy if you think about it. Now, the power of prayer. When your prayer doesn't work, you just say, well, it was the will of God. Really? It was the will of God for, let's say, this little baby to die of cancer. Really? That's the will of God? Oh, maybe it was his karma because he fucked up and did something naughty in his life before. See? Some of the attitudes about karma, it's the same thing for me. Where people act like there's this higher force of some sort keeping tabs on little old you, divvying out punishment and reward for every little micro thing you do. Okay? Now, I believe in karma insofar as what comes around goes around. You know, if you go around lying and slandering people, it's likely going to come back on you. You're going to develop a very bad reputation for yourself, and no one's going to be your friend. Cause and effect. We can call that karma. You do something, and then there's a reaction of some sort, whether good or bad. And good or bad is subjective. What one person calls bad, another person may find good or neutral. Have you ever had someone keep running their mouth about karma's gonna get you, and their own life is a train wreck? Looks like karma went and already got them. Zen-like people don't really go around casting their hate on others. And for someone to be overly concerned with you, that they would want to pray for you, okay, well, let me just say this is very much codependency behavior, dare I even say an enabler of sorts. The hallmark of codependency is the over-emotional involvement with another person's life. And those of you who believe in God and, oh, you know, God's will, God's will, God's will, why the fuck are you asking God to listen to someone as menial as you? Like, it really doesn't make sense. So it's like, well, you know, God's will, except when you want it different, then you want it to be your will. You know, I know this Bible-thumping, holy-rolling Jesus freak who was sending me hate mail. I should read some of it to you because it is knee-slapping funny, okay? And she goes on and on, slapping her gums. And I very sarcastically say to her, pray for me. The stupid cunt takes it serious and says, hell no, I'll never pray for you. Like I meant it. Like I think she has some sort of like special powers, you know, like, you know, this God's sidekick, and he's gonna listen to her, and I'm asking for her to help me or something. So fucking stupid. It's a hoop though, right? So, I'm going to say this. For those of you who really believe in prayer, okay, try this on for size and get back to me. Tell me how well it works. I call it preventative prayer. Why wait until a catastrophe happens, or some disaster, or an illness? I mean, why wait and then pray for a solution? Why don't you just sidetrack all of that, and on the front end, try preventative prayer, and ask God to just not let these things happen in the first place. And let's see how well your research and your study shows that to work. Let's see how well that works. Okay, preventative prayer. Try it on for size. Let me know how it works. Announce and prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's what Granny said. Prayer. I'll pray for you. Oh yeah, you do that. And then get yourself to an Al-Anon meeting, you codependent fuck. How about that? Yeah. Recovery without God. People say you can't do it without a higher power. That's a crock of shit. What you need is a higher sense of awareness about yourself and some goddamn self-accountability. Try that on for size. When you go to some of the meetings and you hear people saying, oh, my life was shit until I found God, now everything's better. It's like, oh yeah, you found God or you found psych meds. Try going off your meds and see how well praying works then. Okay? Yep. And if you people don't like this, and what I'm saying, it's a good time for you to run along and say the Serenity Prayer, because there ain't a fucking thing you can do about it. And you can send in your hate, because, well, you know, this is good. This is like Madeline O'Hare was talking about, the founder of American Atheists. She loved when these people would like show their ass and go on with all of their hate, because it really showed how insane these people really are. And they think they have special powers, okay? Now, if you were to go to a psychiatrist, one of the first things they might ask is if you hear voices. So if you're one of these people and you think you're talking to God, well, woo. Yeah, you might want to get help for that. The power of prayer. One thing I will say that praying as well as spell casting, really, it could help the person focus on their desires or something like that. But you see, you don't really need to involve the notion of anything supernatural. You can just do some good old-fashioned meditation and focusing on your desires, because I have found I have much better results when I focus on what I want rather than what I don't want. Okay? So if there's a practice you do that helps you center yourself in attaining this, that's fine. But to act like the universe just handed it over to you because, well, you were well behaved, so it's a reward for you, good karma, you know, give yourself some credit. I've seen people in recovery who give God all the credit, you know, when good goes well or things go well, they attribute it to God, but if they fuck up, it's all on them. And I've heard people say, oh, everything was fine when I handed my will over to God, but when I take my will back, my life just goes to shit. Really? Well, I'm sorry to hear you're such a fuck up, and you need some imaginary invisible being in the driver's seat to steer your life down the proper lane. You know? I would like to see people give themselves credit, and it's amazing when they don't see that these beneficial things happening to them are a result of their own behavior and actions. You can call that karma, that's fine. Well, hi. Well, hi, Missy. Oh, I see you have your Bite Me flea. She has her Bite Me flea, her favorite toy. Hey, Squeaks. It simulates dying prey. Animals love that. Yeah. I'll pray for you. Look, people that are focused on other people's lives, this is really a distraction from their own life, okay? It's a way they just divert their attention over here, okay? You know, and also how arrogant. They think they can be a savior to some other person when they can't even save themselves. And you can't save other people from themselves, okay? And it's true when they say enablers are as sick as the people they enable, if not sicker. They have to be. And they're deluded to think they have some sort of special control over them, you know? It doesn't work. History shows that. So, if you think I'm going to burn in hell, that's fine. I'll be sure to save you a seat at the bar. And meanwhile, you can pray for me, okay? And we'll see how well that goes. Yeah, pray for me. This will be a great experience. Please experiment. Get back to me on the results. We'll touch base, but run along and pray for me that I will think, oh yes, your way is the way, and I'm going to find God, and I'm going to believe. And I'm going to think like you and be like you. Okay? Let's see how powerful you are. Okay? That you can make God make me change. But then, of course, when it doesn't happen, you can just fall back on the, well, it was God's will. See? This is a flea that says, bite me. Okay? Bite me. Okay? Preventative prayer. Try it on for size. Let's see how it works. Okay. P.S. I thought of a couple more prayer stories. Okay, there's this woman also in recovery, and she did not approve of my lifestyle, right? And we were trying to become friends, but I knew the odds were against us because of, well, her mentality, basically. But she didn't approve of my lifestyle. So what she said was she's going to pray for me. And I responded by saying, hey, now, don't go to fucking things up for me, right? And she just looked bewildered and said, well, I'm only going to pray for good things. And I'm thinking, like, it just went right over her head, right? As if she took it serious. I thought she was going to have a talk with God and ask for some special request and how she thought I should live my life. And by the way, this woman ended up being very self-centered. She also ended up relapsing and got herself knocked up and is now just a single mom with no man anywhere to be in sight. And I just think back to like that look on her face when I told her don't go to fucking things up for me. Right, like she was taking it serious. The person I know with the longest sobriety has close to pushing 60 years, but it's a man named Art who I saw years ago collect a 55-year medallion, and he's 90 years old. He said he believes in no supernatural powers whatsoever. And he even started his little thing with, fuck God, Art. I think back to religious fanatics, and there was this woman who was crying to me about her son, you know, and he's just pretty much an ongoing drug addict and a drain on the family, a permanent sponge, that type of thing. And the family's the worst enablers ever. But they're religious, like very, very, very religious. And very, very dysfunctional and fucked up. But she was crying to me saying, I pray and I pray for God to help my boy, but he's not listening. And I'm like, well, God doesn't give a shit, but really he doesn't exist, and that's why he's not listening. But your son happens to be a perpetual fuck-up, okay? Who is, again, he's reaping what he's sowing, and we can call it karma. It's all coming back around, you know, the cause and effect of it all. And for every action we do, there is a consequence, whether, you know, you consider it negative or positive. This is a result of how we live. But not every bad thing that happens is necessarily a direct action of anything we've done, said, not done. And sometimes there really are chance happenings that are just unfortunate. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time kind of thing, you know. So to try to attribute every little thing for an act of God or, ooh, karma caught up with you, you know, it's just like, please be realistic, people. There's very simple, logical, reasonable explanations for these things, you know. And then what about when people, they say, we had a baby, we had twins, it's a miracle. I'm like, you went to the fertility clinic. Twins are common. And if it weren't for the lab, you wouldn't be having your baby. It's not a miracle, it's fucking science and medicine. You know, yeah, and then people who say that, oh, you know, it's a miracle, and I finally met someone, or I got a job, and they will attribute the most menial, everyday, regular things that are bound to happen to anyone at some point in time or another, and they attribute it to a work of God, like divine intervention, you know? I don't know, it's just like cracks me up. Okay, so prayer, I believe, is nothing more than wishful thinking. It's also very self-deluded to think you have some sort of special power over other people's lives and God's going to consider doing your will instead of His, as if it's a Him. And try on preventative prayer for size. And let's take a look at how well that works, you know? And again, the power of belief and the placebo effect can go a long, long way. But, you know, even that goes so far, you know, only so far. Okay, so thanks for watching my video. Feel free to comment, of course. Send in your hate. I don't care if you agree with me or not. You can thumbs down me till you're blue in the face. You can even send your double-digit IQ hate minions to thumbs down me, because guess what, motherfucker? In the eyes of YouTube, all ratings and votings, whether thumb up or thumb down, the system sees it as a yes for the video. And the more people either thumbs down you, like, okay, for example, if people only thumbs down your video still goes to the top of the list to be viewed. Are you aware of that? Yes, it's true. So if 1 million people came and thumbs down your video, guess what? The system just sees that video as getting a lot of attention. So bring it on. You can bring on your thumbs down. Okay? So I don't care which way you want to go with it. Hey, it's all good to me. Okay? So have fun. Remember to pray tonight, and everything will go fine for you tomorrow. Toodaloo.